Hi guys, morning. How are we doing today? Are we sick of presentations yet? Yes? All right, we only have 2 more. I'm going to be talking to you today. Actually, my name is Mr. Erickson. I'm the IT director, and I'm going to be talking to you about specifically your Chromebooks, but some other things as well related to remote learning. So when you walk out of here, I hope that you feel a little bit more comfortable about what you need to do if you have any issues with your Chromebook, if you have any issues with technology. If you have any questions while I'm speaking, certainly don't hesitate to ask. All right, we're going to start with Chromebook Care. So, for the first 2 years, you guys probably came up with a very specific routine about, you're done with your homework at night, you plug in the Chromebook, you have it fully charged in the morning, every single day because you needed it every day at school. Well, now that there's a good chance we may be doing some remote learning, we'd be in school some days, and at home learning other days. My advice is stick with that routine. At the end of the night, plug in the Chromebook so it's fully charged. You're going to need it for a remote home learning anyway, but you might have one of those days where you think you're supposed to be at home, and then in the morning you wake up, oh my God, I'm supposed to be at school. So you will have a fully charged Chromebook. So just run with that same routine. 2 other quick reminders. Just make sure that when you're in school that you bring that Chromebook every day. We will be using it. And do not share your Chromebook with your classmates. Keep yours to you. All right. If you have a Chromebook that's damaged, we get it back from seniors all the time, and we see like a cracked screen. You can barely see anything on the screen at all. And I asked the kid, well, how long have you had this? He goes, oh, like a year and a half. You guys have insurance, so if there's any issues with your Chromebook, right? We understand accidents happen. Please bring it in. We can get it fixed. We'll give you a loaner in the meantime, right? Now, we don't want that to happen 7 or 8 times a year, right? But you do have some insurance money so you don't have to pay for those, all right? So please bring it in if it is damaged. Along the lines of replacement cords, though, for charger cords, that would cost you $25, but if you don't have one, and that's the reason you didn't use it at all this summer, make sure that you do come into the Chrome Depot. We can give you a new one for $25, but you will need that, okay? All right, so I have an issue with my Chromebook, but I'm remote learning. It's a little different this year. What do we do? Well, if you're in school that day, it's really easy. It's the same as we always do. We go to the Chrome Depot, you give us whatever the issue is. Maybe it's one we have to fix. Maybe you just didn't bring your Chromebook that day, or it's not fully charged. We'll give you the loaner. You're all good to go back to class. However, if you are at home and it's not holding its charge, a couple of the keys just popped off, or you cracked your screen, whatever the reason is that your Chromebook's not working and you can't do anything from home, you need to email IT at sos@d220.org. That's sos@d220.org. Last year, when we in the spring went to e-learning in March and April and May, we had a lot of kids, and I understand, we didn't have a policy in place then, it happened so fast, but we had a lot of kids emailing their counselors or their deans, telling them, hey, my Chromebook's not working, what should I do, right? If it's tech related, you want to email us at sos@d220.org. If you email your counselor, all your counselor's going to do is, when he or she is able to read it, it might be 2 hours later, they're going to forward it over to us, and we're not going to have some of the information we need and the direct correspondence with you. If you email sos@d220.org, it'll go to all of our techs. One of our techs will pull it quickly and get correspondence back to you, and we might be able to troubleshoot it where you don't even have to come in that day, right? If we can't, we will tell you the hours that we're open and the best time to come in during remote learning, because we may have different hours. Your counselors, your deans, even your teachers won't know a lot of that information. So it's best to email us directly. Oh, one other thing. Just make sure in the email that you're very specific with your issue or your problem. Now, you might not know what it is, but please just don't write, my Chromebook broke, right? How is it broken? Is it just not turning on? Is the screen cracked? Are the keys missing? So what is the issue? So we might be able to help you better and more quickly. All right, what are some other reasons that you might contact IT? The first one's the most important, because you are going to be doing a lot of remote or at-home learning, you're going to need internet access. If you lose it, connectivity's bad. If Comcast accidentally cuts your cable line because they're doing construction, whatever the reason is that you don't have internet access, please email us, sos@d220.org. We can set you up with a device called a Kajit. It's like a hotspot, connects right to your Chromebook. You'll have limited internet access, more like when you're at school. You know, there's certain things you're not going to be able to browse and do things with. You can't go to like YouTube and stream videos, but you can do Schoology. You can get on Google. You can check your emails, things like that. You can get your homework done. Please make sure you contact us. We don't want your lack of internet service to be the reason why you don't do your schoolwork, okay? We can help you with that. And then also, if there's any problems logging on to like PowerSchool, like the parent portal, or any of the software we use, like Schoology, IXL, certainly sos@d220.org, that's who you want to email as well, all right? Now you can, let's say for instance, IXL, that's the math program that you use. You can tell Mr. Smiles, if he's your math teacher, email him and say, hey, I didn't do the assignment today because I couldn't get an IXL. But you also want to email us. We're the ones that have your passwords. We have the support with IXL, the software providers, so we can help out with that respect, in that respect, okay? So please email us. All right, how to log into your Chromebook. Most of you probably remember this even if you didn't use it all summer, but just in case, your Google credentials, okay? Make sure that you plug those in, and you should log in to your Chromebook, and also you can log in anything with Google, and you can also log into Schoology that way as well. I'll tell you, because we're going remote, and at least in some respects, right? Some days you're going to be learning from home. You are probably going to be using more of Schoology this year than you did last year. One of the ticket items that we get for getting help with IT from students when they email us is, I can't log on to Schoology. And the reason often is because they're going to the wrong URL site. They're going to the wrong site. They go to Schoology.com or app.schoology.com. If you just Google Schoology, that's what's going to come up. And you can try and enter your credentials there, and they're going to tell you the username does not exist. The reason is because we have a very specific account in Schoology called Reavis.schoology.com. That's what you need to go to, all right? My advice, type that in today even when you go home, first time you're going to use it, and then bookmark it so you have it right there, okay? Many of you might have already done that. And then you're just going to use your Google credentials, the same ones you log into your Chromebook with, and you can get right to Schoology in your coursework. And then finally, just a show of hands, how many of you had a teacher, even just one teacher last year, use GoGuardian to kind of lock you into your screen or a certain tab? Raise your hand if you have that, okay? About half of you. Teachers may use that this year as well, remotely. So you could be at home, and a teacher is going to ask you to log in using GoGuardian. They're going to provide you with an access code. You only have to do that access code once per teacher, but they still may be doing that screen monitoring with GoGuardian even when you're at home. I just wanted to make you aware of that. Okay? All right? Have a great rest of the day.
Okay. First of all, welcome. How are you? I'm glad you're all back here. And my name is Mr. Cezanne, obviously. I think this is my group here. Some of the faces look familiar, even with the mask. But our office has changed a little bit, but I don't want to think it affects this group. So you're still good. You still have the best counselor out there, so that's awesome. One of the things that we also want to talk to you about today is it works a little bit different. Normally you'd be up in your class and be like, I need to go see Mr. Zazada, and you'd come down and we'd work out the problem face to face. Well, that's not going to happen this year, unfortunately. we still want to work out problems. We still want to look at schedules. We still want to identify some concerns if you have them, and I want to solve your problems. The way to do that is to email me. Now, I may email you back and say, hey, what's your cell phone number? I need to call you. We need to figure this out over phone. And that's one of the ways that I've been doing it over the summer, all right? One of the things that you guys ought to understand, especially, is in the summer, we're not here neither. So, like, a lot of people were emailing, like, oh, you emailed me like 3 times. Yeah, I'm at the pool, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, we're not allowed here in the summer, just a couple days prior to school. So, when people have emailed me, that's great. And I've been able to get back to them, and we've been able to talk, and we've been able to make some switches and solve some problems. And that's how we're going to have to go forward for the meantime. And it's fine, okay? Now, trust me, if there's an emergency and you need to see me, I'm going to come running right up wherever you are, and we're going to figure it out face to face. But only in that emergency situation will I probably leave my office and run up to your classroom and get it straightened out. One of the things that we need to make sure that we do a better job, especially now that you're a junior, is communicating with you. And I'd like you to take 1 minute right now, get out your cell phones. All right, I'm going to time you in 1 minute, and I need you to sign up for the Remind app. I need you to text at Reavis 2022 to 81010. So once again, we've got 40 seconds. We want to text at Reavis 2022 to 81010. You can take 35 seconds to go ahead and do that. We'd appreciate it. You know, when you become a junior, there's a lot of different things that we're going to start talking about as far as career and academic, career and college stuff. You know, SATs is a big year for you. We'll get to SATs here in just a little bit, but it's huge. We do have a Twitter page on Reavis Guidance, so you might want to check us out there. We've got a lot of different things that went on, you know, during normal times, a lot of visitors, a lot of field trips. Obviously, that's going to be put on hold for a while, so, but it's still great to follow us and keep us in the loop. And we will add a Google Classroom this year, too, as yet another layer of communication. We want to make sure we can get a hold of you, all right? That was probably one of the frustrating things when we did remote is, yeah, we could probably bug your parents at work, but they didn't like that. I need to speak to you. I need to make sure that we are on the same page. I talked about testing, SATs. We're going to test in the spring. So, you know, really start trying to prepare for that SAT test. We mentioned that colleges, you know, if you plan to go to a 4-year college, this is your year. This is your junior year. So you're going to have your freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year. That's all they're going to evaluate you on. They don't know about your senior year grades. All right? So when we send away to apply to a 4-year school, if that is your choice, they are going to look at your junior year, sophomore, and freshman. And that's how they make their decision. So the 3 years is important, and this obviously being your last. And then what are they looking at? They're looking at GPA, they're looking at your class rank, and they're looking at your SAT score, which you were going to take in the spring. Now, there are some juniors that I know that are like, you know what? I don't want to wait till the spring. I want to see what I can do earlier, all right, and take my SAT test prior to that, and then see what I've scored, and then maybe work on some of my deficiencies before we take it as a school. That could be a great idea, but we don't host that. That's something you would have to go online, which you can do, and you can sign up. And in most area schools around here, there should be a school that within about a 30-mile radius that will host an SAT on those days. So just some things to worry about there as a junior. You want to make sure you're solid this year. You're here. You're off to a good start. You're starting to pay attention in your classes because those classes are going to, you know, lead to SAT questions, especially in math. All right, so make sure you take it seriously and have a great year. Other than that, I think I am done, and I'm going to hand it over to Mrs. Johnson. Nice seeing all of you, and good luck the rest of your day.
Hi guys and girls, you know I'm not the school nurse, again, Mrs. Johnson from the Dean's office. However, Mrs. Carey is in our office and she wanted us to let you know that she hopes that you truly have a healthy semester. And in order to do that, we've got to wear this mask properly, which means over our nose and over our mouth. And I know that it can seem like a long day when you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and we're asking you to be here till 12:30 and do that. But we're all in the same boat and we really have to try our best to follow those guidelines, okay? So, even when you get on the school bus and you're waiting at that corner, go ahead and put that mask on. You're gonna have your temperature taken before you get onto the school bus. When you are outside, maybe for PE class or something of that nature, and you're taking a mask break, if you're within 6 feet of somebody, we're gonna need you to put that mask back on. You know, if you're 10, 15 feet away from somebody, that is your appropriate mask break. When you have this mask on, or off for that matter, try to avoid touching your face and your mask. As humans, we like to touch, right? We like to touch our face, we're messing with our eyes, we're messing with our ears. Try your best to do that, okay? Cloth masks. If you have not already been given 2 cloth masks, but I see some bags, so you guys look like you already got them. If you didn't, get a hold of one of us and we can get you that by the end of the day. But we're asking that you take those home, wash them, you can hand wash them, you can throw them in the washing machine, air dry them, and then wear a clean mask every day. If you've got the disposable masks, you'll need to throw those away after a 1-day use, okay? Removing and replacing your mask, we're gonna do that often, right? You gotta take a drink of water, you're taking your mask break, just make sure you hand sanitize or wash your hands before you put the mask back on. Practice social distancing. I don't know about you guys, but the first day I got back into Reavis, I was so excited to see all my friends. And you guys are excited to see each other. You might have seen some of your close friends this summer, but you haven't seen all your friends, right? And so all you want to do is say, hey, how's it going? How was your summer? You want to chit chat? I know you want to do that. I want to do that. But unfortunately, we are all in this together, and we have to remain those 6 feet apart, even in the hallway. So sometimes it's like, hey, the guy up there, you're going to have to speed up, and I'm back here, and so I'm going to have to slow down, okay? You've seen a lot of things on the news, right? And we here are really trying to follow the guidelines so that everybody's safety is taken into account. So we need your help in doing that, okay? Wash and sanitize your hands for 20 seconds. I know that you learn that when you're like 3 years old, but over time you kind of get lazy with it, right? You really need to scrub those hands to get those germs off. Restrooms, we're going to have a restroom open in the main hallway. 2 to 3 people in at a time. If it's an emergency, you get a hold of a hall monitor in a different part of the building and we will open that up for you, okay? But my suggestion is go before you come and go when you go home. Really important here. You know, we always say perfect attendance, but now we are saying, hey, you know what? Attendance should be responsible. And so if you are sick, do not come to school. And say that, if you are sick, do not come to school, even if you've got a test that day, okay? We can always make that up later, but we are going to need your parents to call the attendance line. So that was for the school nurse. Now we're from the dean's office, okay? I think you guys know us, right? We're the deans. So most of you are my kiddos, all right, in this room. Maybe a couple of you have Mr. Picaro. Today you came in different doors, right? So you guys are parking either in our lot, some of you are parking on the strip, some of you are parking in, your parents are dropping you off. But for juniors, you are going to be coming through the auditorium. That's where you're going to be coming through unless your parents are having you take the bus, and then you're going to come through the patio. So starting Monday, that's going to be your procedure. Now when you came in, you answered a series of questions, and then you had your temperature taken. Okay, we'll continue that. In-person learning starts at 8 a.m. We would recommend that you get here at 7:45 so you can get through that line. Really important is that next bullet. It's not going to be anything like it was in spring. And you guys are going to your classes next, and they're going to talk to you about that. But it's going to be like a regular school day. So on those 3 days that you are remote, we start at 8 a.m. We don't start at 9. We don't start at 11. We don't log in and go back to sleep. Okay? You are in charge of your own education. And the entire world is dealing with the same exact thing. You're going to look back on this one day, and you have to remember that you took ownership of this year. And Mr. Zazada just told you what an important year junior year is. And I know we're not in an ideal situation, but I also know that you guys, if you buckle down, you can do this. You can show up at 8 a.m. and you can engage in your own learning. If we are in school, on those other 2 days, 5-minute passing periods, as much as you want to talk to your friends, let's get to class, okay? No congregating. I think that the 75% of students that signed up for in-person learning want to be here. And I don't think we're going to have a lot of discipline problems. I really don't. And if we do, we'll handle those, okay? Case by case. Stay positive, stay healthy, we can do this. And I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Morak.
Morning, everyone. Mr. Warnock, the athletic director here. I'm here to talk to you about sports and activities. Okay, Mr. Whitting's coming down the aisle right over here. We're here to talk to you about what happens after school. Okay, we still are having sports and activities, so that's good news, right? Obviously, things change every single day, and our format has changed actually. So if you look up at the board, our traditional IHSA seasons used to be 3 seasons. Now we're at 4. Okay. And the reason for that, obviously, is because we couldn't play some of the ones they wanted us to play right away, which were football, boys soccer, cheer and dance, and volleyball. Okay, so they've moved those and they've extended out this season. It goes all the way to June, where we usually would traditionally be in May. Okay, we want our success is driven by your participation. So just by a show of hands, how many people have played a sport or activity here at Reavis? Okay, quite a few of you, good. We want that to continue. Okay, don't be afraid of you know what's going on in this world. Don't be afraid of that, because I promise you, we're doing everything we possibly can to keep you safe. And if it ever comes to a point in time where we don't make it safe, we won't do it. And I know that's unfortunate, but we are taking every precaution possible. So don't let that be the reason you don't come and do something, because we are offering a lot of things virtually. Okay. If you are interested in playing any of those fall sports, boys and girls cross country today are out on the patio. It's at 3 o'clock. They start their practice. So if you're interested, you would go there today. Girls swim, they're at the pool. They start at 3 o'clock today as well. Boys and girls golf, they're off today. Okay, but they will go back on tomorrow. They're at Water's Edge Golf Course, 115th in Harlem. They go tomorrow at 3:30. And then girls tennis, they're today at 3:30 at the tennis courts, okay, located on 77th and Merrimack next to the football stadium. The first thing you would have to do, though, before you show up to tryouts would be sign up at our new website, which is 8 to 18, okay? Basically what that does is it pre-registers you for signing up for those specific sports. You might say, well, I'm not interested in any of those first ones, but what if I'm interested in, let's say, girls bowling, okay? I would still go on there and fill that information out. And you know that girls bowling is going to start in November, okay? Traditionally, as it always does. And you know you need to get a physical, and that site will give you all that information. So I encourage you to go there and take a look at that. If you did not hear a lot of the stuff I said, or it's too much information today, I sent you an email, you have it in there. We also have a lot of our information on social media, okay? It's good to see everybody. Welcome back. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Whitting to talk about activities.
My message is pretty much the same as Coach Morak's, in the fact that getting involved is important. As juniors, if you have been passionate about something in student activities for the last couple of years or something last year, my first piece of advice is to reach out to that sponsor. So if you were Bass Fisher, for example, or you were part of, let's say, Rampage magazine, email that teacher, that coach, that sponsor, and say, hey, I'm interested in doing drama again this year. What is the plan? All right, that's one way you can start doing that, because all things are going to slowly unroll here as we figure out what we can do. I can tell you a couple of things that are happening. You know, I just say we made some decisions as far as sports, as Coach Morak said. Also, they're going to do the same thing with activities. I think speech team members, I think it's going to be a virtual season at least to start, where tournaments are going to be a virtual thing. Chess, I just say chess is probably going to go to a virtual format as well. There's talks of math being virtual as well. So they're trying to find ways to make these activities, especially the early ones, happen right away. So you need to check all of our social media, check the website, check your emails, and look for announcements as things happen. I encourage all juniors to become part of the junior class. Ms. Wilgus is the sponsor for the junior class, and I think now more than ever it's important for you guys to be a part of something in which you influence the decisions that's going to impact what junior year is going to look like. So think about joining junior class as one of those options immediately. NHS, the National Honor Society, those who are interested in that, I know junior year is a big year for that. That, of course, is running, and you need to recess in some of these